Good evening mga katropa. Thank you for being here with us again for episode 24 na po ng Usapang Training at iba pa. Ayan. Ako po si AM, Learning Manager ng Vistaprint Manila, currently serving as Board of Trustees Secretary rin po ng PSTD. Ayan, may dalawa po tayong kasama katropa today. Mag-hello din po kayo. Ed.
Okay, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat mga katropa and welcome to the 24th episode of Usapang Training at iba pa. Okay, ako po si Edwin Ebreo at member ng PSTD Board of Trustees at CEO ng Executive. June.
Hello everyone, good evening. Isa na namang exciting at engaging na Usapang Training ngayong gabi. Bago ko malimutan, i-introduce ko pa lang sarili ko, no? So, June Roy po, past president ng PSTD noong 2021 and currently serving as governance advisor. And at work, I'm the head of our OD consulting sector from Nomura Research Institute. Good evening.
Thank you. And salamat nandito kayo, no? Even if it's a long weekend. We are currently in Zoom and also in FB Live. Yan. Bago tayo mag-continue, can we please have some updates? Balitang PSTD.
Okay, syempre assignment ko yan ngayong gabi. Magandang gabi po uli mga katropa. Kaunting balita mula po sa Philippine Society for Talent Development. Syempre, mainit na mainit. Sa August 31 po, libre. Ayan, for members. Tama ba? Pagka ba hindi member, may bayad o libre din. August 31, meron po tayong online tipanan, Filipino Talent Developer Perspective in the 2023 Workforce Hopes and Fears Survey. Napakaganda po nitong topic na ito. Because as we are coming out of the pandemic and the advent of AI and robotics, ChatGPT, ano ba ang hopes and fears ng mga organizations, especially on the topic, I believe, of skilling, upskilling, and reskilling. Ayan, kung ito po ay isa ring concern sa inyo, I'm sure this is everybody's concern right now and interest. Please join us on August 31, 1 to 5 p.m. via Zoom. Ayan, pag pumunta po kayo sa website at sa page ng PSTD, makikita nyo po yung link. Alright. Ngayon, ito, by the way, ito pong survey na ito ay based on, itong research na ito ay based on the survey conducted by PwC in the APAC region, no? Ayan. And syempre, malapit na nararamdaman ko na yung ating 48th National Convention in Boracay. Breakthrough, conquering limitless possibilities. Magkita-kita po tayo doon at let's talk about a lot of things, about talent development. At in the same venue, we're going to have our Gawad Maestro Awards for 2023. Please join us. Ayan, yun yung concentration po natin for the month of September, at babalik po ang ating mga regular programming sa October. Ayan, babahanan training. Sisimulan ni April sa Longga on the Training Facilitation Certification Program. Kung ito po ay highly recommended sa inyong mga subject matter experts. Ayan, yung mga SMEs natin. You want them to develop the necessary skills in not just presenting but facilitating learning and get them certified for it. Ayan, ito po yung course. Ako naman po, sa October din, ay mag-facilitate naman ng Training Designer Certification Program. Ayan. So, pwede rin po dito yung ating SMEs, lalo na kapag sila ay inuutusan natin na mag-design at mag-deliver ng programs according to their expertise. At syempre, may counterpart po ito for online learning. Si Marby Tabungar will be facilitating the designing e-learning program at si Sheena Bustalino designing interactive e-learning using articulate storyline. So marami na naman po tayong ganap. Pagkatapos ng convention ay syempre we're taking care of the competencies and capabilities of our members and non-members alike. And then lastly, dahil nga po sa dami ng ganap sa PSTD, we invite everyone to take an active role in building this community of practice. If you want to become part of the membership committee, that's headed by Pearl Martinez. Ayan, research and publication. If you are passionate about research at kung mahilig po kayong magsulat, ayan, join that committee. Kailangan po namin ng volunteer sa Junior Philippine Society for Talent Development. We will need mentors. We're talking to several universities who are intending to put together their JPSTD chapter for the year. We're looking at no less than 5 chapters for the year, and in 2025, 25 schools po ang magiging member natin. Let's develop together the next generation of talent development practitioners. Meron din po tayong mentoring committee. Nandito si Irene, I believe. Ayan. Sali po kayo. Wala. Nasa FB pala.
Mentor M.
Si Mentor M. Yan, kasama sa committee. Be part of the mentoring committee. Let's put together a solid mentoring program for PSTD. And then si AM, who heads the programs committee, will also need help kasi gusto nating magkaroon tayo ng faculty for the PSTD academy in the future. So please be involved. Certification committee rin at saka tipanan committee. Kung gusto nyo pong maging active and exchange notes with fellow talent development practitioners, ang dami pong benefits ng pagiging member ng PSTD committees. Yan po ang ating balita para sa gabing ito. Maraming salamat po. Back to you, AM.
Ayan. O, di ba? May mag-volunteer na for JPSTD. Ayan. Thank you, Mr. Oliver Requelman. Ayan.
Ayun.
So today, episode 24, we're actually spinning off from, sobrang nabitin talaga tayo last time, no? Tsaka parang ang dami pa mga tanong. So pag gano'n nangyayari, yung next episode natin, natural na nagsispin off talaga siya into the same topic pero a different aspect naman. So today's episode, we want to provide everyone, paano ba natin may ensure that competency gaps that you identify in the development plan are aligned with the performance targets that we are setting. So, paano ba ikabit yung what is expected from you in terms of performance target, and how are you expected to do it? And to help us in today's discussion, we're really thrilled to have Ms. Daisy Alvior, Vice President for Talent Management and Organizational Development at Prulife UK. Sobrang lawak na po ng kanyang experience and expertise, and she will guide us today through this discussion on the art nga po ba or science? Is an art or science of aligning competencies with performance targets. Ayan. Hi, welcome Ms. Daisy.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So wonderful to be spending my Sunday evening with the Learning Capability Champions and everyone in the call today. So this is my first time to be introduced as a resource speaker person. And this will be definitely one of the career highlights for this year. Thank you.
Wow.
Ayan. Okay. First, sana maulit pa. Ayan. So, let's start, no? Linawin lang natin. Let's clear the air with all the terms that we use na minsan ini-interchange na natin kahit hindi naman dapat, no? Just to clarify, when we talk about performance targets, sometimes we hear terms like BSC or Balanced Scorecard, OKR, di ba? Management by Objectives, yan, KPI, kaya halo-halo na lahat yan, KRA. Ano po ba yung talagang
Meron nga
dinedefine?
KPI pero iba-iba ibig sabihin.
Exactly. So pag sinabi natin performance target, ano talaga yung sinasabi natin?
Nakamute ka, no, Daisy.
All right.
Ayan.
Sorry. It's been 3 years and I haven't, used to unmuting myself during video. All right. So performance target is, for me, how I defined it is what is expected from you to meet your work, to meet our work or output given the specified or agreed timeline. So for example, increase employer branding awareness by 10% at the end of the first half of the year. So it's specific, the more specific and the more defined employee and line manager in the entire performance management processes. Now, when we talk about so many acronyms, no? So we have BSC. Sorry, Jun, abutan ko, BSC na. So, BSC.
Ako MBO.
Hindi ko rin alam yung MBO nilook up ko pa siya eh. Oh.
May OGSM pa.
Si Jun na lang yata nakaka.
So obviously, it is managed by objectives. So there's certain objectives by the company or corporate goals. It's downloaded to the organization. But I would like to focus more on the other two because I'm kind of more familiar with it. So let's see. I just want to talk about siguro OKR and KPI and BSC. Okay. So BSC is OKR muna versus KPI. So the similarity of the two is it's on the definition and purpose. No, it geared towards the progress or the result of the outcome of the difference is actually would probably on the time frame. So since OKRs are associated with agile and tech companies, they have shorter tracking or time frame. No? Unlike the usual KPI we're used to, it usually by end of the year, because that's the design of the PMS. No, you measure what happened at the end, the results at the end of the year. OKR versus BSC. So BSC is, I think, communicates the entire strategy of the vision, mission, and how it is operationalized through themes and dimensions. So it may be customer, financial, di ba may apat na dimension, customer, financial, process, and learning and growth. And it could grow to sometimes innovation and whatever the company would like to focus for that based on the strategic plan, no, or strategy rather of the company. So OKR again is about outcomes, and similar BSC and KPI. It's actually OKR is short sprints, no. Kaya mabilis yung mas maraming natatapos, mas maraming objectives na na-achieve kasi mas efficient siya by sprint, by objectives, no. So that's how I would like to look at it now. There are certain principles also that I'd like to, with all of this, from like 20, 30 years experience, is meron na akong principle na laging, regardless of whatever framework in the trend, no? Usually objectives are, what do I want to achieve? Okay. Key performance indicators, what are the evidence or signs that I need to track to determine my practice towards my goal? At ito yung sinasabi na naghahalo-halo yung activities. So, meron tayong key initiatives. So, what are my action plans to achieve my target? So, tatlo lang lagi to me, what works for me, and you may apply it, is yun lang tatlong questions I need to ask. So, and I will not have be confused with all of these jargons. So, if I may continue, for example, let's put it more operational. The objective is to be healthy. Now, let's put it in a layman's term of what I'm talking about. So, the target is to maintain your BMI and no red flags. Tawag kasi namin dun sa is no red flags, annual physical checkup. No? So, what will be the KPI? So, again, the KPI, what are the evidence that I need to track? Okay, so, it may be, indicators. Weight loss or weight gain, di ba? May lipid profile, yung cholesterol count, SGPT, blah, 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 and then, of course, the BMI. So what do I need to do? What are my key initiatives or activities for me to work on those KPI? So I should be running, right? I should eat fruits. I should exercise, etc., etc. So let's bring it now to the corporate example. So, the learning culture, right? I'm just making this up, right? Now, what is the target? For example, increase self-paced learning hours by 10%. So, how do I know that I'm on that track? So, KPI could be, for example, you may have more completion rate, passing rate, probably participant engagement. No? So, and what are the activities that I need to do for me to achieve that 10% increase? So, I can do more learning pathway through comms, etc. So, in those examples provided, the general concepts are the same, no? Whether you are MBO, BSc, and OKR. It's really just a matter of operationalizing them in the context of the business or on your area. Yeah. So sorry for the long answer. So that's how
Na-enjoy naman
I would
namin
like
yung
Thank you. Sorry.
Oh.
I want to react to that, although I put it here because tama ka, no? There are so many jargons, OGSM, MBO, ang dami, no? Kailangan smart pa. But you're able to put into 3 questions, fundamental questions, na kahit anong model ang gagamitin ko, kailangan nandoon yung tatlong yon, no? Yung what do I want to achieve, what evidences or indicators that I need to track, to know whether I'm achieving what my objectives, and what will I do to achieve my objectives. So I just want to say thank you for this. No? Napakalaking bagay. No?
Yung I have a question dun sa kasi merong example na binigay ka, Daisy, about increasing the number of enrollees ba yun? Ano nga yung mo kanina? Increase number of, for example,
self-paced learning hours. Yeah.
yung learning hours.
Kalimutan na agad yung learning hours.
Yun, halimbawa. Kasi a lot of the examples kanina are results. Results siya. No?
Yeah.
And there are 2 kinds, I suppose, of results, no? Yung output at saka outcome.
Outcome.
Oo. Kasi yung halimbawa, yung ganon, increase enrollments on e-learning, how do we treat that? It looks like a target because there's a number. You can say it's smart, pero merong question mark dun sa R, yung results orientation. Meaning, because I know some companies use this as a metric of performance of the training department. Yung gaano karami yung nag-enroll sa programs, training hours, yung mga ganon. As a measure of performance of the people in training. So I guess the question to all the 4 of us and the people in the room is Is that a good measure of performance? Yung ganon. Kasi para siya nagbo-border sa initiative, para siya nagbo-border doon sa activity at saka I don't know if it's even output. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Medyo confused ako diyan sa part na yan.
Yeah. Si Daisy muna.
Okay. Siguro, I'd like to put that in the context of, for example, you're establishing a learning academy, and you would like to create different in the organization, different delivery. So, kulang lang siguro yung sample, but I think that would make it more output or oriented rather than
in that context it's
so
output.
siguro in that context probably so that training will have training function will have offer kasi yun yung parang strategic, di ba? Strategic na because of where we are right now, we're online and not everyone will have face-to-face. There should be we'd like to introduce, and yun siguro yung ganong example. Yeah, in that context, I would answer that.
I like another, sorry, isa na lang. I like the distinction between yung objectives or targets, yung KPIs, at saka yung or metrics and initiatives. Kasi madalas nakikita ko sa mga when I audit performance appraisals from different companies, yung initiative ang nagiging target. Nagiging performance target. Anong tingin mo doon, Daisy? Yung mga ganong klaseng sitwasyon na yung initiative ang ginagawang target ng employee.
Yeah, that's why well, I've been in that scenario then, no? When I'm just beginning to understand performance management, and usually parang launch project A, di ba? Yun yung sagot mo. Yes, by end of, so smart naman siya, di ba? But does it really, parang ang susunod na sagot ko dun, so what? Would that move the needle? No? So I try to challenge myself. So that's why through the years, nag-create na ako ng sarili kong, 1, 2, 3. And then if I put something that na parang I always ask myself, so what? What's the why of that particular program? Why am I doing it? Or should I be doing it in the first place? So yun lang yung parang guiding principle, I guess, that maybe some can adopt in terms of because sometimes naman talaga, to be honest, talagang may pinapagawa sa yung project. So ang KPI mo to deliver project X. Diba? And I think it may also fall into not actually activity, because that is it depends on the because that project is, for example, a strategic initiative that should be rolled out. And I think yun talaga ilalagay mo.
So kung ang expectation successful rollout of a project.
So I don't think it's wrong in a sense, but depende talaga sa context ng how it is in the organization.
Parang ang sinasabi doon is it the right target, no? And I love the so what, because that for me that is a guide that everyone can use, no? So for example, kapag trainers, so ang KPI mo kunyari or target is conduct X number of trainings by the end of so sige, sinita yung conduct, complete na lang to complete all assigned trainings
and all the verbs, related verbs.
All the verbs. O sige, palitan natin, wag na lang complete all trainings, kundi yung the number of attendees, di ba? Achieve a number of attendees, parang increase in enrollees. So pag ginamitan mo ng so what, ano ngayon kung may 100 naka-attend?
Does it
That's really a good guide. Does it? Pero ang tingin ko doon, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not because this is a incorrect measure or target. For me, it is a necessary target it is a lagging indicator. Pero
Yes.
sabi mo nga rin, it is not sufficient. Right? So kung doon ka lang mag-i-end, hindi rin siya sufficient. Kasi wala yung sinabi ni Ed na outcome-oriented. So pareho yung
Actually,
dalawang
parang feeling ko, lead pa rin siya. Hindi pa siya
lead pa rin
lag.
siya, no? Hindi sorry, lead pa rin, lead. Ang lag
It's a
is
lead
whether natuto ba, nag-improve ba yung performance
na-apply,
nila,
na-apply ba sa
na-apply
trabaho?
ba? Tama.
Depende kung how far you want to go in terms of outcome. Merong
Okay.
magandang tanong dito si
Yes.
Riel.
Si Riel.
Oo. Ayan, do we need to differentiate the approach in measuring or placing a rubric on business results versus behavior, leadership, and culture results? So how would that look like in the performance management tools you mentioned? Actually, doon talaga papunta yung
Yes.
usapan natin.
Yes.
So hindi pa talaga siya napapag-usapan.
Ang ganda ng timing.
Papunta doon. Tama yung timing, ano?
Segue, no?
Oo. So Daisy, anong masasabi mo dito sa tanong na to?
Pahirap yung question. So, different approach in the rubric. If I can si BSC kasi very defined yung ano niya, di ba? There's a threshold. Actually, there may target, pero before the target, there is a threshold. No?
Yes.
Yung threshold na to, sinasabi niya na kung sakasakaling may business that is out of our control, what is the minimum of the minimum that we could
minimum
at least
acceptable
we can
performance.
say, yeah, that we could say that we can survive, diba? Or we are so far good, right? So, and then there's above target and of course above and beyond, no? Yung outstanding. No? So OKR is actually ano lang siya, is either you do it and
may ginagamit yung iba sa OKR
no?
na moonshot at saka roof shot.
Yes.
So yun yung
so hindi, 'di ba? Parang ganun lang siya yung ano. So kasi nga very adapted kasi siya sa agile na mabilis na kailangan mo siyang this particular objective A should be done by X. Actually, ang ano lang nito, by the quarter, tapos mo na kaagad yung objective mo. So wala nang extension. Tayo kasi sa appraisal, gagawin lahat ng project. And I tell my my team na wag niyo akong sasabitan na at the end, tambak-tambak na yung project, tambak-tambak appraisal. So the timing is really
lahat close to the deadline.
Close to the deadline, di ba? So if you cannot yung rubric I think can be defined to make it ano ba tawag doon, yung tighter, no?
Yeah.
In whatever, whether it's BSc, OKRs, or I think it makes things tighter. It makes things clearer to both the organization, the line, and the employee.
Yeah.
So I think it's a best practice that no, mas klaro kasi yon eh. So and it's easier also to, at the end of the year to appraise and the end of the year to reward, because it's clear, everyone understands what needs to be done by X number time frame.
But if it's behavior or leadership expectation, that's the kind of competency you're looking for.
Yeah, so behavior and leadership, yeah. So from my previous life, we kind of have that as built in or a component, no? Part one is the
results.
The hard goals, diba? The other one is the soft goals. And so we put like our core leadership, tapos competencies that has defined level 1, 2, 3, and where you are. There are behavioral manifestations of particular competencies. And if you are a leader, there's plus. So core plus leadership 2 to 3 competencies rather for leadership roles. So we incorporate that in our performance tool. Because yun nga, sabi namin, the how is equally important as the what. Because I need the hows for me to do my job, diba, in the organization. Yeah.
So the behavior, leadership, and culture is
Hope
seen
that
more as
answers.
the how. Parang ganun siya tinitid.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. And sometimes values, there's also company have values naman kasi hindi pa uso na yung competencies. So there's values and there are behavioral descriptions of the values that, you know, guides the line manager and the employee that well, effective ba ako? Am I doing this, etc. So it gives you you know, at least the employees would say na ay doon pala sa soft skills or sa soft values also I have to be, you know, on my toes, that I have to exhibit that behavior or the values the organization.
Meron lang akong gustong i-share. I was looking at RG's question, ano pagka tinignan mo to from a balanced scorecard perspective, minus siguro yung behavior, diba, yung leadership culture, pwedeng mag-fall yan sa ano diba, pwede mo sa learning and growth, or ano yung bagong framework dun sa dulo. Merong iba pinapalitan yung learning and growth ng
learning and innovation.
Another term.
Learning and innovation.
Learning and innovation. Ano?
Alam,
pwede, di ba? Doon mo siya, kung results kasi yung, so you look at, ano ba yung mga strategic objectives at that, anong tawag doon, perspective, and then measure it from there. So, that's one way. And then, yung ma-share ko lang din, so meron tayong mga threshold sa results. One of the things that I try to do with clients is, kung ito yung target, so meron kang halimbawang rubric of 5. Poor, needs improvement, met expectation, exceeded expectation, greatly exceeded expectation. Lalagyan mo ng corresponding numbers yon, so that the performance is practically self-rating. Kung ito yung na-deliver mo na result, ito yung score na walang ano na-meet yung expectation pero 5 ang rating mo kasi di ba isang ganun yung nangyayari.
Parang cuentas claros talaga. It's defined. And you cannot, let's say, if the rating, let's say I need for example 60 new customers and you are 59, you'll say, boss, isa lang naman hindi, because the hurdle is 60, right? So it clarifies the rating, you know, I mean the performance, madali, the outcome, the results of the, mas madali siya.
May isang tanong dito actually from John Go, no? Sabi niya, how do you balance the use of input-output indicators? Output is historical, so it's easy to track, while input is harder. Ano to, no? Parang lead indicators.
Lead and
lagging.
Indicators. So for example, I imagine customer satisfaction is lag indicator.
Lagging, yeah.
Ngayon, lagging indicator 'yon. Ano yung value nung ano yung mga leading indicators that you should consider that contributes to customer satisfaction? Di ba?
Like, for example, it's resolution time of complaints or issues, diba? Turnaround time of the, you know, processing. So parang how would we reach a 90% or 85% customer service index? What we need to do, yun yung parang leading natin na kailangan may mga metrics din tayo, no? It could be it could be operational processes such as the internal processes or you know, customer related processes.
Can I affirm that? So yung sinasabi ni Daisy, I really agree with that, na kailangan parehong i-measure yung input and output. Although hindi kailangang lahat makita sa performance appraisal. Di ba?
Yes.
So for
Oo.
example, ang
Yes.
pinakamadaling
Good
example
point.
nito,
Oo.
sales. So syempre, ang sales target
Correct.
mo, ang revenue mo is 1 million. Pero part ng performance management system is to keep track of your activities.
Monitoring.
So
Yes.
ibig sabihin, pag nagbigay ka ng report at nag-usap tayo, ang conversation natin is ilan ba yung prospect mo? Ilan ba yung conversion rate mo? Ilan ba yung nasa pipeline mo? Ilan
It
at
doesn't have to be in
magkano?
the performance appraisal.
It doesn't have to be in the performance
Yes.
appraisal simply because your performance appraisal and your lag indicator will definitely be hit by this. And si Daisy alam na alam nito because of Prulife UK, you have already moved the conversation in managing sales, not just from managing the lag, because I had a conversation before with one of the sales person there. No? Galing po ako ng Prulife UK. So, ang minomonitor at minamanage actually on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis or on a regular basis is not the lag indicator. Resulta na yun eh. Produkto na yun. So what you are actually managing is the activities that produces the results. So in short,
Yun yung kailangan mong
level-
bantayan.
pantayan. So kailangan mong i-monitor at i-measure yun para yung nandoon sa appraisal na nakalagay, you would be able to deliver that.
So in short, yung metrics na nilagay mo sa KPI, sa performance appraisal na for a certain time period, whether that's quarterly if you're doing
Yes.
OKR or annually if you're doing balance scorecard, inaabangan mo na lang yon.
Inaabangan na lang.
Ang binabantayan mo ngayon, yung mga what contributes to that.
Correct.
Oo,
Ang simpleng translation
Oo.
nito pag nag-setup ka ng Excel lang, yung Excel lang na file mo, di ba? Yung monitoring. So hindi ka magmo-monitor ng sales target lang at saka versus sales. Kumbaga sales target, actual. Hindi ganun yung narrative ng Excel mo. Mayroon kang kwento doon. Ilan ba yung naging prospect mo? Ilan yung na-convert?
Ilan yung na-generate na lead?
Ilan yung na-generate? And then you can
Ilan
drill
yung
it down.
na-convert?
Right? You can drill it down. Kung geographical ba yan, by segments, by all. You need all of those input indicators. Tama ba, Daisy? Ginagawa yan sa Prulife UK. I am 100% sure.
Yeah.
Ayun, sabi ni Annabel Abalos doon sa Facebook, yung metrics daw means measure everything that results in customer satisfaction. Ayun, mukhang yun nga yung
Very
pinag-usapan na.
nice.
In performance
Ganda.
management, sabi natin setting performance target, monitoring performance. Yung monitoring performance, yun yung mga lead indicators dapat monitor mo that contributes to the target.
Ayun. Baka yung iba, may mga iba pang alam na
Ganda
mnemonics
nga,
dyan, di ba?
Oo.
Mnemonics.
Ang galing, ang galing.
Oo. Ayan, okay. Now, so, meron kang lagging indicators, right? And then you have lead indicators, yung mga metrics na nagko-contribute doon sa output. How about capabilities or competencies or skills or behaviors? Do they have a place in the performance management system? Yun yung next na siguro kailangan nating pag-usapan. How do you place that in the performance management system?
Yeah. So again, whether your current tool is it has a built-in competency or question that we need to raise, and what support in terms of competency. Now I have this, goals. It's perfectly written, and I understood it very well. I think the next question that you need to raise is what are the support needed for you to achieve the target, or how can I execute my plans now? So while we do that alignment, for example, okay naman, may alignment naman siya, di ba? So the next thing is to do on the competency requirements of the goal. So for example, the overall objective is sales growth. For the purpose of I don't want to be specific, smart, ganyan. Kunwari lang, sales growth tayo. So you're and the alignment of the objective, for example, is okay, boss, I am a sales director. I would like to establish strategic partnership for us to grow the business. Okay. So the next there is a plan. Okay. So how do we now? What are the key competency needs for you to have that strategic partnership? So it could be influencing. It could be negotiation, which is actually part of a leadership competency, so maybe a core competencies in some of the organization. So once there are conversations that puts in the competencies in the discussion, that's where, as a learning, no, I look at it now as an organizational needs. If area 7, 5, and 9 have this particular negotiation and influencing may not be, maybe a support needed, then it becomes an organizational need from the point of view of learning and capability building. So that now puts you, the person, okay, you can now have that in your respective IDPs, but from the, and I will now put that as part of the program, because it will support our sales team to negotiate further and have and achieve more strategic, no? That's just a rolled out of the programs or rolled out of a, kasi nasa plantilla natin, nasa ano natin na dapat this year mag-roll out tayo ng
Right.
competency A, B, C. So it becomes more, in terms of prioritization, in terms of course budget and resources, you may put more focus on that than all other programs in line for the year. That's how I would like to, put that in that context.
Okay. I agree with Daisy on that, ano? Kasi normally kapag ka meron kang competency or capability framework in the organization, that takes care of all the duties and responsibilities, 'di ba? All the key result areas. Pero kasi kapag ka meron kang performance management goals for the year, meron kang parang pina-prioritize na ano no? Meron kang mga pina-prioritize na mga targets. And you have to look at the competencies identified for the position and look at the ones that will greatly contribute to the delivery of the performance and prioritize that in the developmental support of the person or of the job performer. Kasi baka mamaya meron kang mga ina-address na mga competency development needs, pero yung talagang priority for this time hindi napasama. So yun yung magandang i-consider when you are establishing performance targets. Ano yung corresponding competencies that contribute to that target? Okay.
Ayan, ang dami nang may init na tanong sa
Oo nga, oo.
Ayan.
Ito, I want to hear the groups, although hindi to strictly factor sa talent development. I guess it is from a motivation perspective. Si John Go, sabi niya yung quantitative at saka yung qualitative or yung behavioral competencies, yung weight that you give, kasi bibigyan mo pareho ng appraisal yon. Ano daw ang fair or reasonable na weight that you give, no? So yan,
ito yung palitan namin ni Past Chair Adi dito.
Yeah.
Yun na ba yun?
Hindi, pero si Daisy muna. Ano yung recommendation mo?
If the
Or ano yung dependencies?
if the principal, if the organization principle says that the heart to the what, then it should be 50-50. But there are also organizations says that the principle na the how should be built in already in the person, no? So they put it 60-40 because sometimes when you look, parang pag tinatali, meron ganun kasi na ginigame
yung system.
yung appraisal.
Yes.
Diba? So yung the how, nirarate na mataas because sometimes line managers don't want to. with the employee, no? Kahit medyo alam mong delikado na si what, they increase the how so that the total, no, when we do the
Na-offset
weighted average, the
Yes.
offset, no?
Ah,
So it really there to me there are really no hard fast rules or best practice. I think it's how the principle that the organization would like to
Yes.
agree.
campaign.
Oo.
Ang approach ko when kasi when one of the consulting works that I do is in performance management, development and implementation. At dumarating dito sa tanong na ito, kung ano yung weight between results and behavior. Sabi ko, whatever it is, it has to have a philosophy behind it. Diba?
Yes, the principle behind it.
Yung kung 50-50 yan, what does it mean? What are you trying to communicate? You're probably communicating that the how is as important as the what.
Right.
Diba? Kapag ka sinabi mong mas mataas yung result kaysa doon sa behavior, what is it communicating? So at the end of the day, what the weight that you put on either of the two communicates what's important to you as an organization. So ang sagot lagi na naririnig ko sa mga kliyente, no, is that hindi pare-pareho. Hindi pare-pareho ang sagot. In fact, meron akong isang kliyente, 0 yung behavioral. 100% result. Oo, yung behavioral is basically kaya kita ina-appraise para malaman mo kung ano yung nag-contribute to your success or to your failure to meet success. It's purely developmental tool, not a reward-giving tool. So parang gano'n, ano? And I don't argue with those things, no? Inaano ko, sige, kung yan ang ibig niyan sabihin sa inyo, then we'll implement it like that. So yung what is fair and what is reasonable, I guess depends on ano yung reason mo for the weight that you put, no?
Yeah.
Ayun.
Correct.
In short, kung tahiin lang natin, don't just jump right into the issue of 50-50 ba, 60-40 ba, 70-30, but clarify first and have a crystal clear definition of the philosophy or what Daisy mentioned as principle, no? Kasi where I came from, ganun din, no? Kinlarify. Malinaw sa akin that time, why is it 50-50? But even in the subsidiary where I came from, hindi muna namin inadapt kaagad yung 50-50. But we know that we are going there. Pero yung first year of implementation, napunta muna kami sa 70-30 or 60-40, and then we will be moving up later on. So may maturity readiness na pinag-uusapan din doon.
In the BPO field, usually where more or less gumalaw ako in my career, it's usually 80-20. Talagang ang focus is on what needs to be achieved, and the 20% is really developmental din talaga yung approach niya.
And token reward na lang yun.
Correct. And I've
may
seen that
dagdag ko
din yung
lang.
iba-iba.
May dagdag ko lang in good practices with some or many of our clients, doon sa KPIs na naka-integrate na. So you will actually see there a KPI that talks about culture, succession management. So kung titignan mo, sinundan nila yung balance scorecard. So your learning and growth, these are actually indicators that pertains to your values of innovation, something about people culture, naka-embed na doon. So kung embedded siya doon sa mga KPIs, then eto magre-reinforce lang itong values or core competencies. So I think that's a good practice that the what indicators already contains the enabling or mga enablers, which are actually rooted in values, people, and culture.
Dami nga
ng discussion dito.
Ayan, sabi ni Maribel, nga naman, in rating scientists and researchers, the how is very critical because the manner in which the research is conducted weigh heavily in the outcome. And then sometimes yung research itself, the act of research, ano siya, wala siyang, anong tawag doon? May output siya, wala siyang outcome.
Yeah.
Because it's research, di ba?
Research.
You want to find out, you want to gather information, etc. So, yung discipline, ano, yung how it's done can have, kaya nga hindi pwedeng ano no, hindi natin pwedeng ikahon yung weight
Yeah.
kasi depende doon sa ano bang klaseng trabaho. O ano bang klaseng business meron yung organization.
And there are also ways by which you can embed the core values, which are the how factors in many organizations, into the KPI. I'll use example ni Mentor M. So yung quality of research, you can build in, let's say, 5 indicators there. And one of the indicator is actually pertaining to the how you did the research. If it is like project effectiveness and you have safety indicator or safety as a value, so yung project effectiveness success mo, one of the indicators there is project effectiveness rating will be influenced. One checkpoint is safety. So pag nagkaroon ng safety incident, affected yung total project effectiveness mo. But so na-embed na kaagad yung safety culture in that project effectiveness rating, which is a what indicator. So that's a good practice that you don't really have to totally separate the what and the how. There are opportunities to embed the how right into the what indicators.
Make it simpler, no?
Yeah.
Okay. May question si Oliver. This is an interesting question. Is evaluating core values, so I'm supposing, because we're talking about performance target setting, is that you're also setting standards, Oliver, on core values, di ba? Still relevant to these days. How do you evaluate values like honesty, integrity, and austerity? Ayan. Okay, sino gusto sumagot niyan? Daisy?
Daisy muna.
Actually, again, depends kasi on the company rin, no? So for example, if you're multinational and there's marami kasi, no? So they want to keep it in every local business unit they have in each country has that to ensure that everyone is on the same page as far as our values concerned. So that's their way of instilling and to everyone that even if we are 100 years old, we still value our values, something like that. No?
Right.
But in these days, if you're gonna ask me as a Gen Z, charot. Baka it won't, well, I don't know, but it may, I'll leave that prerogative to our
sige.
colleagues here. But I guess, pwede din namang wala. As long as the interventions and outside, if you're gonna take it out in the performance or it should be constant or consistent in the organization such that you keep a certain the culture, the values are kept, especially now that we are virtual, no? Siyempre, hindi tayo masyado nakikita-kita, not everyone else are 100% face to face. So I think yun naman dapat meron kang something kapalit nung culture building.
Right. Ang experience ko naman pagdating sa values, of course, we want to reinforce the values in the organization. So in some organizations, they really make it part of the performance management system. Tama yung sabi ni Adrian, it should be easier kung may mga behavioral indicators yung values na yon. In companies where they have competency framework, the expectation is the values were incorporated in the identification of competencies, no, whether they're core or leadership or cross-cutting competency. So nandun na siya, hindi siya diretsong kasi nga paano mong irurubric yung integrity, basic, intermediate. So anong nangyayari, kino-consider mo yon in writing the behavioral indicators for the competencies, ano. Kung wala 'yon, wala kang choice but to put the actual values in the performance appraisal. Maganda yung point ni Oliver dito na merong honest pero poor performer, 'di ba?
Yun yung ginigame, di ba?
Oo. Hindi kasi honest nga ako honest ako pero hindi ako high performer. So how does that affect so honesty is a core value, for example, in the company. I'm rated highly on that because I'm honest.
5.
Pero yung output ko honest. yung yung output ko hindi maganda, no? So paano 'yun? Basically, yun yung tanong. Ano sa tingin niyo doon?
Doon papasok yung scale. One of the ways is doon
Weight.
papasok yung weight
Yes.
percentage, no? And the priorities in the organization. Saka yung take ko naman doon, if the question is, do we still need to evaluate? We do, right? We need to evaluate it summative during the appraisal. We need to evaluate it in every project.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So kasi yung evaluation, it's not only one time during the appraisal. So every project and initiative that you have, that you're going to do,
Is it aligned?
doon pa lang sa kick-off,
Yes.
ano yung mga core values that
At
should
play,
manifest in that. And then pag nagkaroon ng debrief, what were the core values that were manifested? Ano yung mga core values na na-miss out? And so you have a dynamic way of evaluating core values. In all the major initiatives that you do, tail end na yung performance appraisal. And so pagdating ng performance appraisal, I would still go with the best practice of many companies. For example, Japanese companies, there are Japanese companies na yung Kaizen, which is a core value of continual improvement. Sa 5 na KPIs nila, isa doon is a Kaizen objective. And it's measurable. So embedded siya.
Okay.
Right? In construction companies, ang safety is both a how indicator, but it is also embedded into the what. So there, ibig sabihin, if you can find opportunities to embed and translate your core values into the what, balance scorecard din yan, di ba? And for those companies who are into sustainability, sustainability is both how, pero it's also embedded as one of the KPIs.
Okay.
So nagiging what din siya. Yun nga lang, tama si Past Chair Adi, kailangan malinaw yung behavioral indicators. So this is where really Oliver's point makes sense. Kasi kung safety madali, sustainability may mga measures, pero kung honesty nga, yung mga medyo mahirap na So if you are honest, paano matatrack yun, di ba?
How honest are you?
Honest. So
Level
may mga
1,
gray
level
area
2.
talaga.
Level
We
3.
recognize that. No?
Okay. Bilis naman ng oras.
May
Ang
part
bilis na.
two.
Ano nangyari?
May isa pa akong tanong kasi
Stay with
itatanong ko
us.
na rin.
Konting konti lang.
Itatanong kasi as I listen to all these exchanges and all the wisdom behind it, paano mo i-develop yung capability naman ng mga performance managers to do this? Yung pag-set ng mga para paano mo kukunin yung baka sabihin ang dami naman yung pinagagawa nyo sa akin. What do you do to ensure that the managers are capable of not just identifying these targets and behavioral expectations, but are also able to communicate it to the employees? Ayun, sabi ni Adi, ni Adrian, we need
Another session for
Correct.
that.
Oo nga,
Doon
Sige.
papasok talaga yung training, di ba? So kailangan nila yon.
Hindi pwedeng orientation lang,
Hindi pwede,
PMS.
Okay, I wouldn't mention the name of the company, of course, but one best practice that we have done for one company is mayroon silang documented guidelines na pag pinasa mo yon, masusundan mo kasi may mga examples na on how not to write a KPI and how to write a proper KPI.
Parang may job aid, parang ganon.
May job aid, mayroong video for the orientation, mayroon ding formal training. At yung training, yung output nila, i-review ng facilitator yon. So pagkatapos ng buong training program, sila naman yung mag-train sa iba.
Yes.
Okay.
Daisy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Daisy, you were saying.
in some companies, usually we do it every year, kahit ulit, kahit we assume everyone is always a new employee or new line manager in the PMS. So every year we have that orientation. We do also have playbook. So everything that's like June said, it's incorporated in the playbook, and it is emailed and it is in one access point. So when you first mo dito, yeah. So
I like the idea of the
there's a
playbook.
guide that. Yeah. So syempre the playbook is a work in progress. Every time there's new changes, it builds, really build yon hanggang parang one day nakita mo, ginawa ko ba talaga to? Diba? Kasi nga it builds tapos may mga input din yung line managers, diba? What are their pain points, no? And syempre, tulad niya sinasabi na kanina na ang haba-haba naman nito, parang minsan talaga dinidread nila end of the year kasi nga
Tapos meron ka 20 staff.
Oo, diba? Oo, lalo na kung marami kang staff, right? So, again, yun din babalik sa performance management process. How do we design rethink the performance management process? So we do check-ins then para hindi naman siya yung parang dread sa huling-huli. So in the middle or monthly, whatever you establish, doon mo rin binibuild yung conversations mo with your team. Yan. So yun yung those are tools in job aids. It really helps, I think, especially for the line, especially for the new managers.
Yep. Ayan, AM.
Dalawang kulang talaga. Ayan. Sabi ni Oliver hanggang 12 na lang daw kasi long weekend naman. Tuloy na lang natin to. Pero yes, thank you so much, Miss Daisy. Talagang ang dami naming napulot dito. And a lot of alignment of principles and philosophies, and even just understanding why it cannot be one approach for every team or organization. And I love the guidelines, the questions on setting our performance targets. If there's one thing you want all talent development professionals to take away from today, what would be your advice to everyone or message? Yeah.
Okay. I think not just in performance management or competency development. I think in every HR programs or initiative or strategy, always work on principles. Kasi pag principle-based, ang natang i-contest, di ba? Mahirap siyang hindi siya mahirap, walang masyado magko-contest kasi principle-based ka. And that determines what structure or framework that works best for you. And always that everyone organization is on board so that we are on the same page. We have one interpretation of the strategy, of the goals, of the metrics that we are expected. Those are the key that I can the way the discussion worked right now. I think that those are the key learnings I had in this discussion.
All right. Thank you so much. Before we close off, and thank you for staying, mga katropa, kahit medyo a few minutes over na tayo. Ayan, hindi po makakatulog si June Roy today kung hindi kami sabay-sabay. Thank you for joining, and we hope to see you in a future episode of Usapang Training
Atbp.
Ayan.
Ayan. Group picture.